So a professional photographer will, they'll usually snap roughly 1,000, maybe 500 photos during a standard 2-hour session.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Right, like you just hear the shutter click endlessly. But out of those 1,500 rapid-fire flashes, you will likely use, well, exactly one.
Maybe two if you're lucky.
Yeah, maybe two. And I mean, we look at a striking magazine cover or a really razor-sharp LinkedIn profile picture, and we just buy into this myth of spontaneous perfection.
We completely do.
We think, wow, they just stood there, the sun hit them right, and the photographer got lucky. But today, we are dissecting the honestly obsessive, heavily engineered process of getting that one flawless frame.
Because it is entirely an illusion. I
Yeah.
mean, we only ever see that final curated output, right?
Right.
Our brains just completely erase the hours, the days, sometimes weeks of meticulous planning, physical prep, and optical physics that went into capturing that single fraction of a second. A professional photo shoot is, well, it's the absolute definition of a strategic aesthetic operation.
And that is our mission for this deep dive. We're completely demystifying the professional shoot. Because whether you are a business professional trying to, communicate authority in a corporate headshot, or an influencer building a digital brand, or even a model stepping onto an editorial set, high-quality visuals are your currency.
They really are. It's your digital handshake.
Exactly. In a digital economy where platforms like LinkedIn or Instagram serve as your first impression, you can't just show up in a nice shirt and hope for the best.
No, absolutely not. Proper preparation is literally the only thing that separates average, highly forgettable photos from exceptional, impactful visuals that actually advance your career or, your brand.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the foundation of a highly effective photo shoot doesn't happen when you step in front of the lens.
No, not at all.
It happens days in advance, starting with something called a mood board, which honestly, it sounds like something a teenager makes on Pinterest.
Right, yeah.
But in this context, it is treated like a strict architectural blueprint.
That's a perfect way to look at it, actually. A professional styling session is a highly coordinated effort. It's an alignment of, well, the creative director, the photographer, the stylist, and you.
All working together.
Exactly. And the mood board is essentially the visual contract you all sign before the day even begins. It dictates the specific theme, the branding goal, the color palette, the environment.
Because if you show up to a set without understanding the concept you're meant to convey, you are just flying completely blind.
Completely. And the camera will absolutely capture that disconnect. I mean, it always does.
Which makes sense, because the environment fundamentally changes what you're supposed to wear. Like if the mood board dictates a luxury fashion shoot, you're looking at sharp tailoring, heavy, stiff fabrics, and very clean geometric lines.
Yes.
But if you're shooting a relaxed lifestyle campaign outdoors, that heavy, structured blazer is going to look absurd.
Right. It's going to look totally out of place. Styling requires clothing that moves with the body, right? So linens, soft cottons, dynamic silhouettes. You need to know if the mood is bold and high contrast or soft and approachable.
And that knowledge directly dictates your wardrobe strategy.
Exactly. And practically speaking, you can't just bring one look. You have to bring variations. So a formal option, a casual option, a statement piece, and then some high-quality neutral basics.
Just to give them options?
Yeah, the creative team needs options to manipulate based on how the environment and the lighting are behaving that specific day.
But wait, let me push back on this a bit.
Okay, sure.
Isn't personal branding fundamentally about standing out? If I'm just following a mood board and wearing neutral basics, don't I just look like generic stock photography?
Yeah.
Like, what if I have an absolute favorite shirt, say it's got this incredibly wild, loud, geometric pattern, but I always get compliments on it, and wearing it makes me feel incredibly confident? Shouldn't I wear what injects my actual personality into the photo?
What's fascinating here is the underlying psychology and, frankly, the optics of the two-dimensional image.
Okay.
While feeling confident is crucial, right? A photograph is a flat translation of three-dimensional reality.
Right.
So when you wear an overly busy, chaotic pattern, it actively pulls the viewer's eye away from your face and your expression.
Oh, I see.
And worse, on high-resolution digital camera sensors, complex geometric patterns often create what's called a moire effect.
A moire effect.
Yeah, it's this weird, distracting visual distortion where the digital pixels clash with the lines of the shirt.
Oh, wow. So it's not just an aesthetic faux pas. It's like a technical nightmare for the camera itself.
Precisely. It literally breaks the image. Unless the specific creative concept is explicitly demanding a loud, chaotic aesthetic, Your clothing should frame your face, not compete with it.
Right.
You want the viewer to connect with your eyes and your expression. If they spend 5 seconds trying to decode the busy pattern on your chest, the photograph has failed its primary objective.
Wow, yeah.
Subtle branding, through perfect tailoring, high-quality textures, and deliberate color choices, that communicates far more authority than a loud, distracting print.
That reframes the entire wardrobe process. The shirt shouldn't be stealing your spotlight.
Exactly.
So if busy patterns destroy the camera's focus, what happens when the distraction isn't the shirt, but the canvas it's sitting on, namely your skin? Because we have to talk about physical preparation, and reading through this, preparing your face for a high-resolution camera sounds incredibly stressful.
It can be. But the human canvas is arguably the most critical variable, and the preparation begins 2 to 3 days out.
2 to 3 days?
Yeah. And it's not about achieving some unrealistic standard of beauty. It's simply about giving the photographer and the makeup artist a workable surface.
It's like sanding a cracked drywall before painting it.
That is a great comparison.
Right. If the surface is uneven and peeling, it doesn't matter if you buy $1,000 luxury paint. The wall is going to look terrible. So the mandate here is aggressive hydration and adequate sleep, to minimize deep under-eye pooling. But there is a massive flashing red warning sign here.
Oh, yes.
Under no circumstances should you try a new skincare product right before the shoot.
That is a critical rule. The temptation is always to buy an expensive, aggressive exfoliating mask the night before to look glowing.
Yeah, like testing a brand new, highly complex recipe at a fancy dinner party. It's just a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. Because unfamiliar chemical exfoliants or serums can cause microinflammation.
Oh, yikes.
And to the naked eye, your face might just look a little pink. But under the intense, unforgiving blast of a 500-watt studio strobe light, that microinflammation will look like a severe chemical burn or a massive allergic reaction.
Oh, my God.
You have to stick to the exact routine your skin already tolerates.
Which makes total sense when you think about the power of those lights. So, okay, your skin is hydrated, your hair is clean and styled. Men need a fresh shave or a meticulously tailored beard to avoid looking disheveled under the macro lens.
Yes, neatness is key.
But here's the piece of advice that I think a lot of people will cringe at. Practicing your posing in a mirror.
I know.
I have to be honest, standing in my bathroom practicing smiles and angles makes me feel totally ridiculous. Doesn't scripting your body language just make you look robotic and wooden when the camera finally turns on?
It feels ridiculous, yes. But the alternative is much worse. Think about what happens to the average person when a massive lens is pointed at them. They freeze.
That's true. Deer in headlight.
Exactly. They suddenly forget how human arms work. They lock their joints. By practicing hand placements, facial microexpressions, and shoulder angles in a mirror, you are purely developing muscle memory.
So you aren't memorizing a rigid pose, you are just like teaching your body spatial awareness.
Exactly. And there's a deep technical reason for this. Camera lenses fundamentally distort human features.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah. A wide-angle lens can make your nose look larger, while a longer telephoto lens flattens your face completely, making you look wider than you actually are. So to counter that optical distortion, you have to create geometric angles with your body, dropping a shoulder, shifting your weight to your back leg, tilting your chin a fraction of an inch.
And if you haven't practiced that?
Right. If you haven't practiced those micro movements, and the photographer yells, "Hey, drop your left shoulder and push your jaw forward," you will look incredibly stiff trying to figure out how to do it. Muscle memory allows you to respond to those directions fluidly, creating a dynamic, natural image.
That completely changes how I view posing. It's not vanity. It's literally compensating for the physics of the lens.
Exactly.
And speaking of physics, we are now walking into the studio space. So you're dressed, you're hydrated, you know your angles. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the way your preparation interacts with the studio environment is entirely dictated by the manipulation of light.
Photography literally translates to drawing with light. The camera sensor does not see you. It only sees the light bouncing off of you. Understanding how different lighting setups interact with the fabrics you chose and the face you prepared is vital.
So let's break down the mechanics of that. You have soft lighting, which is usually created by pushing light through massive diffusion boxes.
Yep, softboxes.
Right, and it wraps around the subject, it fills in the shadows, and generally enhances natural features by smoothing out the texture of the skin.
Very flatter.
But then you have harsh lighting, which is bare, directional, and creates deep, dramatic contrast.
And hard lighting is entirely about highlighting texture. It will show every thread in a tweed suit, but it will also show every single pore and blemish on your skin, which is why that skin preparation we discussed is so incredibly vital.
Right, there's nowhere to hide.
Nowhere. And then you have backlighting, where the light source is placed behind you to create a halo effect, separating you from the background and creating this striking silhouette.
And this is where the wardrobe choices intersect directly with the physics of the studio, because fabrics don't just, sit there. They actively participate in the lighting setup.
They absolutely do.
But if you wear a heavy, dark velvet outfit, that fabric acts like a black hole. It absorbs the studio light, creating a very dense, heavy, grounded feel. But if you wear a light, crisp, white silk shirt, that fabric acts as a bounce card.
Yes, exactly.
It reflects the studio strobe back up into your chin and jawline, fundamentally changing the illumination of your face.
It's a brilliant physical interaction.
Yeah.
And the camera sensor processes contrast much more aggressively than the human eye does.
It's exactly like painting a room in your house to change its perceived size, right?
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Like if you paint a room dark navy, the walls absorb the ambient light and the space feels intimate, cozy, and slightly constrained. But if you paint it stock white, the light bounces endlessly and the room feels cavernous and expansive. Your clothes are doing the exact same thing to the light hitting the camera sensor.
That is a highly accurate analogy, and because the studio is such a dynamic, highly technical environment, you absolutely cannot just show up empty-handed. The industry standard is to bring what is known as the essential accessories kit, but basically the survival kit.
Right. If you look inside the bag of any veteran model or seasoned professional, you aren't just going to find a spare tie.
Right.
You'll find neutral undergarments. You'll find anti-static hair tools, because apparently the dry, electrically charged air in a studio will completely destroy your hair volume in about 10 minutes.
It's the worst.
But then the list gets a little weird. It mandates bringing a massive handful of heavy-duty safety pins and a pair of very comfortable broken-in sneakers.
Yep.
Wait a minute.